Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my field maple forest. I put this forest together from seedlings that we got at the KW Bonsai Society meeting. We had a field maple workshop. So all these trees were from David's garden in Toronto. He has a field maple and it drops all these maple keys and they grow in his garden. So he digs them up and gives them out to club members. So the oldest tree here, the largest tree in the forest, is about, I think, 5 years old, and the rest are kind of 2 and 3 year old seedlings. So quite small. I did arrange this forest together this spring. I root pruned each tree and placed it in the forest into this new pot. And the growth has been quite moderate, and that happens when you root prune the trees. The tree is producing roots and top growth at the same time, so it keeps the trees quite small and compact, which can be really good if you're growing maple bonsai. Here is a look at the maple forest. So I've got quite a variety of size trunks in the forest. Some of the seedlings were very tiny, some were a little bigger, and then I have like the main tree, which is quite a bit bigger. The overall shape of the forest isn't there. It doesn't really have a nice overall silhouette to the forest. It's kind of fairly flat across the top for the younger trees, and then the main tree kind of sticks way up in the air. So today I'm going to try and shape the overall forest, kind of reducing the height of the trees on this side, and yeah, setting it up for next spring's growth. So I won't be repotting these trees in spring. The soil is good in the forest, and yeah, I might get some fairly rapid growth on the trees because I didn't do any root pruning, but we'll see how it goes. Field maples are quite a hardy species. They're more hardy than like a Japanese maple. They do need some winter protection, but not so much from temperature, more from wind and yeah, just drying out from the wind. So they're a good species for bonsai. They have nice small leaves, nice autumn colors. They kind of turn yellowy. You can see some of the trees in the forest still have some green leaves on them. Others, like the main tree, has pretty well lost all its leaves. So I think I'm going to start today by pruning. I'm happy with the arrangement in the forest. I think it's quite nice. There's kind of a pathway through the forest here, and I won't put moss on it yet. It'll probably grow in naturally next summer. Yeah, today I'll just be mainly pruning the forest for structure and the overall silhouette. I would like to have, these trees that are close to the largest tree to be higher. So I will not be pruning those quite so much. But the ones on the edge of the forest and towards the back can be reduced quite a bit. So you get that forced perspective in your forest. So the trees at the back are smaller, skinnier, and they look like they're in the distance, and the trees up front are larger and thicker, and they look like they're closer to you. So it creates that more depth in your forest than it naturally has. I'm going to start the pruning on the outer edge of the forest, the smallest, kind of lowest trees. So on this outside one here, I have a pair of buds here, a pair of buds here, a pair of buds up here, another pair up here, so I can pretty well cut it to any height I want. And I want it quite small. Either this tree or the one behind will be the smallest trees in the forest. So where to cut it? I think because the inner node from here to here is quite large, I think halfway between there. So here I go, first cut of the day. Cutting that off. And then the tree behind here, I've got buds down here. There's a bud here, and there's buds up top. I think I'm going to develop that bud here, so I will prune it back to here. Like that. Quite short. The next tree, I want it a little taller. I've got some good branching in this area. I've got a pair of buds in here. So you can see it's quite straight in this section. So I could at least take the top off here, and I will. So here I go. It's still a little tall. I could reduce it. I've got buds back here, so I'll take it back further. And then I've got a bud on the front of this branch, so I can take that one back. Like that. I think that height is fairly good. On this branch, I think this branch leader died off, so I'll take it off. I can take this branch back. And then for the height of this one, I have lots of buds down here. I've got buds here, and then I've got a division up top. And I think that division up top is just too high, so I'm going to develop these buds, so I'll take it off here. Shortening that tree down. So you can see now we're starting to get some taper to make that kind of rounded, asymmetrical, triangular silhouette to the forest, which always looks pleasing. There is a stub in the center of this tree I can take out. And I can prune this one back, kind of taking the tip buds off to get a bit of movement, a bit of taper in that branch. I think that height is quite good. The tree out the back here is way too tall. So on that one I have buds down low here, and then a space with no buds, so I'll have to take it off. Quite short to here. Like that. And these back trees are always shorter. So let's go around to the back now and start pruning up the back trees. Okay, so this tree, it's growing quite strongly, but it's getting quite tall too. I have a good division here. I'd like to keep that. I think if I reduce the height and keep that division, it'll be fine. So I have buds here, so I can take it off here. That one. And I have branches down here forming. I could take that whole top off. And I think I will, because I have branches here and the next branches are forming up here, and that's getting a little high, so I'll take it off. Right in here, taking the top off. That reduces that quite a bit. There's a lot of buds in this area. They'll probably have to get rubbed off. I could do it now, but I'll wait till spring, just in case you get dieback in the top. You might want to use those branches. This tree, it's the height isn't too bad. If I kind of use my rounded triangular silhouette, the back row should be shorter, so I'll just take it back. I got buds here, so I'll prune halfway between the nodes, and here also. There's a stub up the center I can clean up a bit. Yeah, I think that's fine. There's a small tree growing up the back here. The height isn't too bad. I'll just take the tip bud off. Like that. The next tree in this back row, I've got to get them kind of going shorter, so I've got a lot of branches forming here. So I've got branches at this level, which is a little low, branches up here, which is about right, so I'll take it back to those upper branches. Like that. This one, it's too tall. It's quite thick too, so I want to slow the growth down on it. And I'm just looking for buds. I have dormant buds on the trunk line. There's one down here, a strong one. So I think I want these outer ones quite short. So where to cut it? I'm thinking somewhere here. I think so. So here I go. Big cut on that tree. And then the outer one, I have buds kind of all along here. So I'll take it off right here, making that very short. My next row in should be a little taller. And when I say rows, they're not in rows, but kind of the next step in is this one. And it's getting a little tall. I got buds up here, which is pretty good height, so we'll take it off there. Like that. And then on this branch down here, it's kind of running parallel with this trunk line, and I have buds down here, so I'll take it off here. I think this one's fine. This tree, it's not a bad height. I think I'll just take the tip buds off here and here, tip bud, and the rest aren't too bad on it. I'll leave those alone. This one's fine here, it just needs to grow. This one is a little tall, so I could take that back to this division here. Like that. I'll take the tip bud off here. And I think that one's okay. Okay, let's go back to the front now. So I'm looking at this front tree here. It's a bit of an angle, but that's okay. I have lots of branches forming down low, but the height is fairly good. So I don't think I want to prune the height down. So I'll just prune these tip buds off the branches. We'll create some more branching in spring. I think that's fine. I have a big stub up top on this tree I could take back. I'll use my rounded cutters for that. Like that. Yeah, I think that's fine. The tree behind it is about the same height, but it should be a little shorter. So I'll take the tip off the branches. Maybe even a little lower. And this one's getting too long. I'll take it off here. And I have a stub up the center here I can take back. Yeah, I think that's it for that tree. On this outer edge over here, the height isn't too bad. I could just kind of take the branches back a bit. Take the stub out the middle. This tree's not a bad height. I'll just take the tip buds off. And I'll take that center stub back. Oh, safety glasses when you do that. Like that. And I think I'm getting fairly close to finishing the pruning of all the trees surrounding the main tree, but I still have to do the main tree. I'm just having a look at it. There's the front of the planting. I think I could take this one back one more node. I think that's pretty good for the surrounding trees. They kind of have an overall form, and that'll improve in the future as these ones kind of grow up in the middle. Look at the outer one shorter. Yeah, so let's tackle this main tree now. So I think the main tree is getting a little tall for the forest. So I would like to take it back. So I have some possibilities here. I've got a strong bud on the front here. That could be kind of the new leader of this branch. I could just remove the top and keep this branching. There are buds at the base here that would grow. It's a tough choice. I want the maple to be kind of flowing upwards. A lot of these branches are kind of too horizontal rather than, as I said, flowing upwards. This is a nice one here. So I think I will start. I'm going to take off that upper one. I've got buds back here that will develop and replace it. So here I go. I'll leave a stub, taking the top off the tree. And then I'm trying to think if this branch is going to become a problem. And it's difficult to say. I do have buds back here. One is an upright one. So I think I'll take it back to those buds. Like that. And maybe it'll develop a little more upright. This one's kind of getting quite long and thick, and it's not very upright. I do have an upright shoot here. There's a few out here that are upright. If I took it off to there, that might be a good thing to do, so I will. I'll take it back to here. I'll leave a bit of a stub. Taking back. So I've got a good strong kind of upwards bud here, and there's a few back here. On this branch back here, it's kind of almost cascading, so I'll take off the bottom part. Like that, and there's one opposite on the inside here I'll take out. That helps. And then this back branch, I've been trying to get that to grow upright, and I've got some shoots that are going upright. So I think the future of this branch is this leader here. Not so much these horizontal ones. I'll take off the growth that's kind of pointing down here. And clean up the stub on the end. I'm wondering about taking this branch off. It would make this trunk line more in the back. But is it? It's not bad having a branch here. I'll take it back shorter. I've got an upright bud on the two upright kind of leaders there, so I can develop those. Yeah, I think that's good. I've got two branches back here, which could be okay. I will take the tip off this one. It's a little too vertical. And this one I'm going to let grow because I think that could be the main trunk line of this branch eventually. Down lower, I have upright buds here. I could take this branch back. I've got good buds there. This one, I'll just take the stub off the tip a bit. And then this branch out the back, I like this branch line, but this one kind of runs parallel with the trunk line, and it's going too far out the back. It'll shade out the tree behind it, so I'm going to take that off. I could reduce it back. There is buds here, but I just don't like the direction of it, so it's going to come right off. And these trees, you know, they're young. It's a work in progress, and every year you do branch selection and the trees improve the basic structure of the trees. You can't expect, you know, every branch to grow in the perfect position. When the trees are really young, it takes a while to develop that structure. Okay, I think it's time to step back and have a look at the forest. So here is a look at the forest from the front. I think the overall shape is improved, and Yeah, I think this tree has also improved a bit. As I said, they all have a long way to go, but I'm sure they'll get there. Yeah, so I think that's it for the pruning of my field maple forest. I'm quite happy with that. It set it up for spring growth. Yes, I think that's it. Here's a look at the forest, kind of a higher angle. You can see the placement of the trees. And we'll go down low. There they are. Yeah, so I think they're all developing quite well. Here's what I took off the trees today. So not a lot, a few thick branches, a few long branches, a lot of tip cleanup. Yeah, so I think, year 2 as a forest will be quite exciting for this planting. I think you'll see a lot more vigor coming this next year as those roots get established in the pot. I think it's a nice pot for it. I think the pot goes quite nice with the fall colors even. I didn't do a lot of changes to the forest today, just small improvements, and they build up over the years. You don't want big changes in a small forest. You don't want big, thick, rapid growth, or you just have to cut it off anyway. It gets too coarse and the trees thicken up too quickly and you start to lose the scale value of the planting. You want your trees in your forest to be kind of realistic, slim trees, not big, kind of fat, tapered trunks or anything, or it looks kind of strange. It doesn't look natural. So now it's time for today's updates. I'll show you an update to the larch forest. So you can see it's getting some nice fall colors on it. Some of the trees are quite yellow now. This one always goes yellow first. Oh, it looks nice in the sun. Kitty's helping me here. Yeah, so it's coming along. My leader up here, it's getting more vertical, but it's still, it doesn't flow very well, and these branches up top are thick and kind of the foliage is sparse out of the tips, so I'll keep working on it. I don't know what I can do. Yeah, it's just a problem, that tree. The rest look pretty good, the apexes on them, but this one's been a problem. It was getting too tall and I cut it back, and we'll see how it goes. But overall the forest is looking quite nice this year. My 60th birthday Scots pine is looking good. I haven't done much work on the upper canopy. You can see some of the shoots are getting a little vertical. I'm trying to get the roots to grow. And it's been 3 years now. And I'm hoping this year I'm going to go in, check out the root system and see if there's enough for me to cut off the lower part of the root system. Time will tell on that. I can't rush it. It's just a matter of time until the roots up top get strong enough that I can get it into a smaller pot. I can't risk losing the tree, so I've got to be patient. But we'll see this spring. My small fire thorns, both of them got lots of berries. Yeah, they grew fairly well this year. They did quite well. Over here is my cotoneaster. And it did well. It got a lot of berries too. The structure is getting better on it. I got a lot of suckers growing up from the root base. So my plan is to keep those and eventually make kind of a forest out of it. So they'll all have interconnected roots. And you see they get nice fall colors. There's some of the berries that have fallen off here. Yeah, it was covered with berries. It looked quite nice. I don't know if I showed it an update when it was looking really good in fall, but it did look good. Over here is my windswept Scots pine in the pot that Shani made, and it did well this year. The foliage is looking good. Everything survived. So I'm quite happy with that. My northern bog forest has, most of the trees are kind of losing their needles. This one's still hanging in there. Yeah, it's going kind of dormant for the winter. But it was quite nice. It was nice to see it in fall with all the larches turning yellow and the spruce staying green. My Avatar Grove, my cedar forest, it grew quite well this year. I didn't do a lot to it because I kind of profile pruned all the trees to kind of a conical form. So I just let them grow this year. So once they go dormant, I'll be pruning those up. Behind the larch forest is my royal oaks, and they grew really well this year. You can see they still have some nice fall colors on them. Yeah, they'll need pruning soon once the leaves have kind of fallen off. Here's a look at my giant sequoia forest. So it grew okay, but not great this year. It was a hot summer. I lost a lot of the lower branches. You can see there's a lot of new ones coming out now. So I switched it to putting it in a tray of water, and that seemed to really help. They seem to be quite thirsty trees in the summer, especially on hot days. I think they need repotting also. I think it's a fairly small pot, and I think they're probably getting root bound. So in spring I'll be working on the sequoia forest once again, trying to improve it. My Austrian pine grew well this year. The sacrifice branches are working. I may prune off the one sacrifice branch to here and just keep the one sacrifice branch. The reason I have two is that I got budworms in the candles the one year, and I lost kind of a year's growth in my sacrifice branch. But now, this back one, I have lots of growing tips, so if one of the candles got worms in it or something, I have lots of other ones that would take over. So I think I could safely prune off this front one now. The branches, or the needles on this one, are out far enough that it doesn't shade out the good branches below. But this one, the branches are kind of closer to the trunk line. So I could either, remove these branches and just have my one growing tip way out here if I wanted to keep it, or just remove it and just have the one sacrifice branch. And the branches down below, there's a lot of branch tips I left long, waiting until these back buds start getting more vigorous, and I'll be pruning some of these branches back. So that'll be in an upcoming video, working on the Austrian pine. But it thickened up a lot this year. Those sacrifice branches really work. And sacrifice branches, they take many years before they start becoming really effective. People say, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years before they kind of start doing their thing. So I'll be patient and wait, leaving them on for a few more years. In the greenhouse here, I still have a lot of my more temperate trees out here. It's going down to about freezing at night now. And I keep the heat on in here at night, so it keeps it around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, about the same as they would see in the basement, but they get the benefit of sunshine on sunny days out here. So I'm going to keep them out a little longer, and then I'll make the big move once it starts getting colder outside. Yeah, everything's looking good. When I pruned my Sarissa here, a lot of these branches were kind of getting shaded out by some of the taller shoots. So I took it back quite far, and you can see some of the branches are a little yellowy. So I'm hoping they green up. The flowers don't help. The flowers zap the vigor out of the branches too, but yeah, I'm hoping they green up before it goes away for the winter. It starts growing again at these tips. Yeah, I got quite a pruning, but I think it'll be worth it, getting that branch structure sorted out even more and the overall profile better. So we'll see how that goes, if the branches green up before it goes into the basement for the winter. My Portulacaria afroforest is doing really well. You can see there's even new growth on top here. Yeah, it's still looking quite show ready, I think. There's a few shoots that are growing, but not too many. Yeah, I still enjoy looking at this planting. It just takes you away to Kubu Island. My baobab style jade here, is looking good. You can see it's growing, and that big carving I did on the back there looks really good. It healed over nicely. Yeah, it's doing quite well. So the next carving will be on this kind of stump here, but I'll wait till summer for that. My Winter Jade that was sent to me by Scott Winard is going to be flowering soon. You can see all the flower buds all over it. So that's really cool. And a lot of people asking me, well, how do you get your jades to flower? There's a few factors. One is you can't be pruning them. The jades that I have in flower, this one back here, and the Winter Jade, I haven't pruned them this summer. So if you let them grow, I don't know when the flower buds develop, but they must develop sometime over the summer. And then you let them cool down, going almost down to freezing. And then even when they're cool, they were developing the flower buds. But they need that cool period to develop the flower buds. And then you can either bring them inside, warm them up, and they'll flower, or just keep them cool and they'll also flower. But they need that change in temperature to stimulate, I think, the flower buds to develop. And not pruning it, I think, helps too. I have a jade forest here that desperately needs pruning. You can see the branches are getting so heavy, they're starting to spread out and droop. So I've got to prune these back. I've never had these kind of hobbit style jades flower. So I haven't pruned these ones and they haven't flowered. Maybe they're not old enough, I don't know. I don't know what the flowers look like on these type of jades. But I've never had flowers on the hobbit style. Down here on the floor I have like the, no, not hobbit style, Gollum style jades. And I've never had these flower. I didn't prune these this year. I just let them grow. And there's no flowers on them, but maybe they flower, I guess they do, but I just haven't had any yet. So this is another forest I'll be working on, kind of thinning it out a bit in the future. The yucca forest is doing really well over here. It's looking very lush and green. My Jurassic Park kind of planting. Yeah, they did quite well this summer. I was looking up some information on these Burt Davii ficus, and someone asked me, are the fruits edible? And yes, they are. They don't get very big. You can see most of them are falling off already, and I don't think they're ripe. And I was also checking the temperatures where these grow natively in South Africa, and they're more moderate than you get here. The summers aren't as hot as here, and the winters aren't as cool. So yeah, and someone said they don't mind heat, but they don't like the intense sunlight. So maybe a shadier spot to grow it. It might keep it a little cooler, might help it grow. So we'll play around with it next year, its placement, and see how it does. I've got all my citrus trees in the greenhouse here, and some of those need pruning, so I'll be pruning those up in a future video. I don't think they need a whole lot of work, but just some adjustments. You can prune them quite hard in fall, and then they'll kind of sit dormant all winter, and then in spring they'll sprout all kinds of new growth all over the old trunks and branches. Yeah, they're pretty good for back budding. So that'll be upcoming, is tackling all my citrus trees. My copper spoon plant here is growing quite nicely. I think I pruned it once, twice, three times now. So it's starting to get a canopy on it, and the trunk isn't thickening up very much, but I guess it will in the future. Behind that is my bougainvillea. This is the pink pixie one, and it's been struggling all summer. It gets little shoots on the growing tips, and then they tend to die off, and so I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, I'm a little worried about it. It hasn't been growing strongly like it usually does. I know I did repot it, and I did a fair amount of root pruning, but it never bothered it before. So maybe I've got to remove the moss and just see what's going on with the root system. It was a hot summer, but usually they can take the heat. So I don't know. We'll see about that tree. Here's a look at my Frank Yee corkbark jades. They're not really corking up very much. I haven't done much with them other than when they get super tall, I prune them. They're still kind of in a small pot. I could put them in a bigger pot. Yeah, so I'll be doing some work on these in the future, making them into bonsai. For now, I've just kind of let them grow, and yeah, as I said, when they get really tall, I prune them back. But yeah, we'll start the bonsai work on those soon. My ponytail palm back here is getting enormous. The trunk is just getting huge on it. You can see the size of the trunk. It's just absolutely massive. I don't know what to do with this ponytail palm. It's quite old now. It's getting on over 30 years old from a little tiny bulbous little thing. Yeah, I don't know what to do with it. I could keep growing it, trying to get a bigger canopy on top. Yeah, it's a bit more of a novelty than an actual bonsai, I would say. But it is getting old and mature looking, so I'd hate to, you know, give it away or anything. I think I'll keep it. Just kind of maybe prune the canopy back in the future, some hard pruning on that, see what happens. I've done that in the past and they recover quite nicely. Yeah, so that's the ponytail palm. It's getting really big. That was an update to some of my bonsai. Some you see on the channel quite often, and some of them very rarely on the channel because I'm just letting them grow and not doing much work on them. My field maple forest is all pruned up and ready for spring, and that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.